Dear students, today we will discuss different concepts of probability. This is module 4 of Statistical Methods of MA Economics Part 2. I am Dr. Rashmi Akhori from Department of Economics, College of Commerce, Arts and Science, Patna. After this lecture, you will learn different concepts of probability. And after knowing the basics of probability, you can understand addition and multiplication rule. Now, what is probability? Actually, probability is the part of non-deterministic experiments. It is a numerical description of how likely an event is to occur, or how likely it is that a proposition is true. Probability is a number between 0 and 1, where roughly speaking, 0 indicates impossibility and 1 indicates certainty. Now, there are three concepts of probability. One is classical definition, second is the empirical definition, and third is subjective definition. Now, what is classical definition? Actually, it applies when there are equally likely outcomes. Empirical definition, it applies when the number of times the event happens is decided by the number of observations. Subjective definition, it is based on whatever information is available. So, in this subjective probability, we always find probability which is based on whatever information is available. So, in nutshell, we can say that theory of probability owes its origin to gambling. What is classical probability? How will you define it? When there are unequally likely outcomes to an experiment. That is classical definition of probability. You can express in this way, that is, probability of happening A equals to number of outcomes favorable divided by number of possible outcomes. And that may be written as small n divided by capital N. Probability of certain events is already known, or the resulting probabilities are definitive. For example, the chance that a woman gives birth to a male or female baby. Here, probability is half, that is 50% chance that female gives birth to a male and 50% chance that female gives birth to a female baby. In the same way, the chance that tail or head appears in the toss of coin is P equals to 0.50 or half. The chance that one spot will appear in die rolling is what? 1 by 6. Why? Because when a dice is rolled, we see it has 6 faces. And if you want to know what is the probability of number 1 is shown up, then total number of outcomes you know is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now number of case favorable to coming of 6 is equal to 1. So probability number 1 is shown up equals to 1 by 6. Now what is empirical probability? It is based on past experience. The empirical probability is also known as relative frequency or experimental probability. Next, here probability that E happens equals to number of times event E occurs divided by total number of observed occurrence. How will you calculate empirical probability? You see, for example, 383 of 751 business graduates were employed in the past. The probability that a particular graduate will be employed in his or her major area is 383 divided by 751 equals to 0.51, or you can say 51%. In the same way, the probability that your income tax return will be audited if there are 2 million mailed to your district office and 2400 are to be audited is 2400 divided by 2 million equals to 0.0012 or 0.12%. Then, what is subjective probability? Here, the likelihood of a particular event happening that is assigned by an individual based on whatever information is available. If there is little or no past experience or information, it may be arrived at subjectively. Illustrations of subjective probability. Estimating the likelihood you will be married before the age of 30. Estimating the likelihood that the US budget deficit will be reduced by half in the next 10 years. So, these are the three basic concepts of probability. There are different concepts, or you can say different words we are using for probability chapter. These are random experiment. It is an act whose outcome cannot be predicted with certainty. Now, what is trial? Each performance of a random experiment is called a trial. Now, what is an event? An outcome of a random experiment is called an event. Events having equal chances to happen are called equally likely events. Now, space. It is represented by S. It is the set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment. So, in the case of toss of a coin, S equals to H and T, head and tail. So, two possible outcomes. Now, what is mutually exclusive events? The events are called mutually exclusive if they cannot occur simultaneously. In other words, the events A and B are called mutually exclusive if A intersection B equals to none. Independent events. The events are called independent if happening of one does not affect the happening of other. So these are the basic concept which you must understand for clear understanding of all the following chapters which we are going to discuss in this module. This is all for today. Thank you.